Welcome back, V.O.C. YouTube channel. It's a video I never thought I'd ever have to make in my life. I would have thought if I was making this video, it was a retirement video for Brian Kelly. Not that the fact that he fucking left us like a little weasel that he is. But whatever, it is what it is. I'm a broken man, slowly getting better. I won't be officially better till they say who they're going to hire. So until that happens, I'm like a little on edge. But we're going to jump into the hire. I'll break it down, where he's going next, who Notre Dame should look at next. Let's get into it. Like I said, I'm a broken man, right? I literally filmed the video Monday, eating the MRE. Thanks for loving the video. Filmed it. Literally got the Bruce Feldman thing on my phone for The Athletic. I did The Athletic $1 a month deal. Greatest deal ever. The Athletic is probably the greatest sports writing there is out there. So I think they still have a deal. Go get it. If you love sports, look in The Athletic. The best writers, everything. So I saw it and I'm like, oh, fuck it, whatever, take them. I don't care, right? And then when it happened, I'm like, well, we just lost a football coach. And then like my heart sank. Like, look. I mean, I'm still speechless, kind of baffled by it. But like I said, I've gotten better. I've watched him do numerous interviews. I watched his press conference today, so I've slowly gotten better from it. It just baffles me, right? But my first memory of Notre Dame football is Brady Quinn. He's my all-time favorite player of all time at Notre Dame. Without a doubt. He is number one on the pedestal. I don't think anybody will ever touch Brady Quinn for me being my favorite Notre Dame player of all time. I've had numerous other ones, right? I love Golden Tate and other players that have played over the years. Michael Mayer is my favorite right now. But no. So that was my first memory of Notre Dame football, right? So that was like 05, 06. I was 5, 6 years old. I remember getting a Brady Quinn number 10 jersey for Christmas, like the greatest thing ever. That's my first memory, right? So then up until that time, right? I remember Charlie Weiss Bears, they sucked. I was young, so you're not like fully in tuned in it. You just know that we weren't good. And it was always like one of those things like, oh, blah, 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 And then I remember the day Brian Kelly got hired at Notre Dame. 2010 from Cincinnati. This pudgy face fucking guy that nobody looked at was like, man, this guy's going to really tear down this program and really build it up, right? I wanted Urban Meyer then. I was a big Tim Tebow fan as well around that time. So Urban Meyer, I've always loved Urban Meyer as well. That's where my love for like Florida and stuff has come into, is Tebow and Urban. So like in 2010 I wanted Urban, right? You didn't get him. No one wanted that program at the time. No one wanted to touch Notre Dame. So I'm going to start out talking about how Brian Kelly's done good, and then I'll shit on Brian Kelly, and then I'll talk about next. No one wanted to touch Notre Dame. It was awful. We were terrible. You lived in the past. The program lived in the past. Coming off the big old 10-year contract from Charlie Weiss, worst contract I could argue ever in college football history for a coach. And so he rebuilds. In his third year, gets us to the BCS. Go undefeated, gets to the BCS championship. We get stomped by Alabama. Arguably the best Alabama team they've ever had. And then it's like, okay, he's getting better, 8-4. And then make it to the Fiesta Bowl with Jalen Smith, Ronnie Stanley, Will Fuller. Like, that fucking team was loaded. Multiple guys went in the first round. Jalen Smith, arguably before he got injured, was arguably the first overall pick. And then we go 4-8. And I was like, fucking fire him. I was like, fucking fire him. It's done. He's not going to do anything. Fire him. We keep him. And then he's rattled off the past 5 years, at least 10 wins the last 5 years. And if we would have played a full schedule last year, it would have been 11 wins. So basically, he's won basically 11 games the last 5 years. Never been done before in program history, the 10-win thing. We made it to 2 playoffs under Brian Kelly. We've not looked well in those. I thought against Alabama last year, though we got beat, I think it looked better on the field. We were able to move the ball a little bit better. We did some things a little bit better. That Alabama team was just fucking nuts. But I was like, man, we're slowly getting there. And then you look at the recruiting class for 2022, if it stays together. Pretty decent. I think it's top 5. You look at the recruiting class for 2023. It's second right now. I know it's 2 years away still, but it's like slowly gaining momentum. And then we lose Clark Lee. So you're like, oh, whatever. Then he brings in Marcus Freeman. You're like, how the fuck did this guy do this? You told him, like, fuck off, LSU. Don't go there. Come here. We get him. And he's basically done a great job. And then this year, I thought we'd go 8-4, 9-3, and somehow we're 11-1. So, I'll start off saying Brian Kelly saved Notre Dame. I will admit that. As much as I'm pissed off right now, and as much as I hate him, and I hate his guts right now, I can't acknowledge the things he did do. He put us back on the map. He put us in a position where now coaches that are looking at the job that probably wouldn't have looked at it before are like, man, look what he done. If I feel like I'm a better coach than Brian Kelly, it's like, man, I think I can go there and I can win. Legitimately, I can win. I give him credit for that. All-time winningest coach in Notre Dame history. I'd vacate the wins. What Notre Dame did compared to what the NCAA did. So the NCAA marks him as, I think, 92 wins at Notre Dame because they vacated 2 seasons worth of wins. We went 12-0, and then we went 8-4, vacated him. And then Notre Dame was like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to vacate your wins. So you can be the all-time winning coach. And he is. If I was Notre Dame now they fucked us, I'd take those wins away. I'd be like, look, no, NCAA, you know, we're going to acknowledge you, NCAA now. We're going to take those wins away from you. Which should be done, in my opinion. That's right. If I was Jack Swarbrick, I'd do it. Just to be a dick. Just to be like, man, you fucked us, we'll fuck you. Right? Oh, yeah. So we're 11-1, right? Like, I don't want us to make the playoff, but if all goes well, or all goes to shit, we could be in the playoff. No coach, right? And I do like, and this is what I'll say right before I do shit on Brian Kelly. I do like how he's tried to poach our guys, but he hasn't been like Lincoln Riley, like, you're coming with me. He talked to him. Notre Dame's trying to get him back. And he said that 3 times actually, in the interviews, all 3 interviews he's done today that I've watched. Dan Patrick asked him, guy in the press conference asked him, guy from ABC 57 South Bend, I respect you, man. I respect you. And then Paul Feinbaum asked, I've never watched this much fucking SEC network in my life. These gumbo-eating weirdos, like fucking southern shit, like where all these people call in and you can't even understand them. Like, I don't watch this shit. I have the last 2 days crying my eyes out watching it. Broken man here, broken. But he said, I'm not going, like, I have to let Notre Dame do the due diligence, however you say that word, with these assistants. Because like he said 3 times, they're still employed by Notre Dame. So I have to be cordial about it. I can't, and he said he's not going to fuck over Notre Dame in that way. And if he did, I'd be even more pissed. But I don't think he will. I think he's going to be kind of cordial. May take Marcus Freeman. You offer Marcus Freeman $3 million to be a defensive coordinator. I think he's going to take it, right? But he's being kind of cordial about it. He's being nice about it. He said he's not going to do anything to fuck over Notre Dame. He's not unethical. Debatable. So I do like that. But this is where I'll start shitting on it. Are you fucking serious, Brian? BK. Alright, this is the last time I'm ever going to call you BK in this video. Because you're dead to me now. You're like, I unfollowed you on Twitter. If I was home in the V.O.C. around Diamond Lake, I would fucking egg your house. Not even gonna lie, I'd fucking egg it. Used to drive by it every day. I'm like, man, it's so cool. Me and Brian Kelly, somewhat neighbors, kind of far apart, but somewhat neighbors, right? I'd fucking egg your house. I don't know I'd do fucking anything in my being. I'd pull up in the lake right now. I'd fucking do something. So it's like, dude, what the fuck? You were here 12 years. You probably only had 3 or 4 years left. And I think this is my other thing. I think that this kind of might have played a part when we hired Marcus Freeman last year. Did Jack Swarbrick look at Brian Kelly and go, look, okay, what do you got? 3, 4 years left, and then we'll have Marcus Freeman take this thing over? Maybe he was like, fuck that. I don't know. I want to coach for 10 years like the contract he got. He's 60, so maybe he was like, you know what, fuck it. I want to coach a little bit longer than what maybe Notre Dame's doing, right? And I get that. Because Marcus Freeman's going to be a star if we hire him or not. I'll talk about that later. So that's the thing. So it's like, but like, come on, BK. Like, you just built a house in Notre Dame. Just fucking finished building it. What the fuck was here that you got down there other than the money? Right? I get the money. I get you leave for the cash. $95 million plus. I'll go through the contract after I'm done shitting him. But it's like, dude, come on. You fucking murdered a kid at practice, and we fucking stood by your side. Everybody else wanted you fired. And I'm sure a majority of fucking schools would have fired him. Especially because at that time, we were like 8-4, 7-5. Like, we weren't even great. You fucking murdered a kid at practice, and you're going to fucking sit up here and say, well, I'm leaving you guys. Fuck you guys. On a recruiting trip, you were recruiting for us in a home and then got on the plane, and you're like, yeah, I'm the new LSU coach. Are you fucking serious, dude? Like, unethical as fuck. And I get that, like, okay, like, people like to, oh, how cordial are exits, right, when this coaching thing happens, and, you know, it leaked through the media first. No. Look. If you had, and this is where, like, I didn't get, like, what he said with Dan Patrick when he was talking about it. He was like, yeah, I got on the plane after recruiting in Southern Cal, and he was like, my attorney was only on the plane. And Dan Patrick was like, well, Brian, doesn't that basically mean that you're going to be the new head coach? Like, you could have fucking told some people, right? Like, yeah. So, the news broke at, like, 7:38. He didn't fucking text the players till 10. What? And then said, hey, at 7 a.m. I want to meet you guys. Are you fucking stupid? I'm glad he met with them, because when he left Cincinnati, he didn't meet with them. A lot of coaches don't meet with people. But, dude, you've been there 12 years. You kind of fucking have to. He met, only talked for 4 minutes, didn't answer any questions, and fucking pulled out. Meeting started at 7, fucking was out of the school by 7:11. This fucking guy, I wouldn't have went to the meeting I would have texted back like, nah, bro, good, go to LSU. The other thing that I hate, and he's saying that he said this, and he never once said it. I've watched the video, and I've read the transcript thing on The Athletic, the article they did. He said he told them he was going to LSU. He never told them where he was going. He just said, I'm no longer your football coach in Notre Dame. Like, grow a fucking pair, dude. Grow a fucking pair. Like, you're the most hated guy, in my opinion, in Notre Dame history. And there's been some fucking people we've hated. I hate you. No bone in my body is like, man, I'm going to ever accept that guy back on campus. I fucking hate him. I hope Gumbo makes him fat down there. And look, do I think he's going to win a national championship? I mean, he's going to have a better chance. But it's like, I don't think Brian wins a big game. I don't. Like, I fucking honestly don't. I've seen fucking coaches that could win the big game over Brian Kelly. And, like, look, I get it. Like, so now I'll move in why I think he left and all that. And like I said, I think maybe there was a timeline thing. And now you got all the reports that him and the athletic department were, like, at ties and conflicting with things. I think that was a bullshit report to make him look better for why he left. Because Jack Schwarbeck fucking broke those down in his press conference yesterday morning. He goes, yeah, Brian never, we always talked about improvements and fixing shit. And if there was a staff member he wanted to hide, we were all like, let's go get him. Like, so I don't think that was the problem. Like, there's issues with Notre Dame. And as a Notre Dame fan, look, I've realized that, like, recruiting is not what it is. You have to get accepted in the university before you can, like, be recruited and, like, get a scholarship and shit like that. And freshmen live in dorms. They don't just like other schools where they can just live with the athletes. They don't have that. You know, so it's not always sports 24/7. Notre Dame is academically led in a lot of things. You're a student athlete. You're not just a student or an athlete. You know, you're a student athlete. You know, the motto is always graduating champions. He's trying to use that in LSU. Brian, fuck off, dude. Fuck off. Get out of here with that shit. So it's like one of those things where, you know, it's a tough job. I get it. But it's like, dude, look, you've somewhat fucking mastered it. Like, why would you fucking want to leave that shit? And you're leaving the premier program where, and I get why he's leaving, right? LSU, way more money. Way easier to recruit. But at the end of the day, you have to think about it. You're leaving Notre Dame for LSU. You're going to the SEC where you have to play Saban every year. Texas and Oklahoma are on their way, and those are two big brands. Texas is a bigger brand than LSU. Texas is the first or second biggest brand in college football. If Lane Kiffin stays at Ole Miss, you have to play Ole Miss every year. You got to play Jimbo at Texas A&M every year. I think Jimbo's a better coach than Brian. So it's like, dude, you could arguably be the third or fourth best team, best coach, and you're fucking just on the division, and that's not even including Georgia. Florida, if Billy Napier continues to build, or, you know, not continues, but starts to build something good in Florida, like, you should be able to win in Florida. So it's like, dude, what the fuck? like, I get it, more money, but it's like, I don't know. I just don't get it. Like, I still don't get it fully. Like I said, I get the money, and there was one article my dad was reading to me, like, Notre Dame fans, like, this needs to humble you. Of like, dude, look, you don't leave Notre Dame. You just don't. Last guy that left Notre Dame was 1906. He went to Wisconsin. Never heard of him again, right? And it's like, you don't fucking leave Notre Dame to go to fucking LSU. Because down there, your little cute 10-2 seasons, they ain't fucking good enough, dude. Going to the playoff and potentially getting blown out or whatever, that ain't fucking good enough. You're not winning SEC, you're not beating Bama, and you're not winning a national title, they don't give a fuck. So it's like, you go 10-2 or 11-1 and you're not in the fucking SEC championship, fucking bon voyage, like, you're done. I don't get it. Way more pressure, like, they're all talking about, well, he looks more relaxed. Yeah, but there's a fucking lot to more pressure. Because, like, now it's like, he mastered it with Notre Dame. Come to the realization as a Notre Dame fan, we're probably not going to win a national title with him. That's why it's like, it's going to be tough to win a national championship with Notre Dame, and I think it could be done, and this is not just delusional Notre Dame fan talk right here. I think it can be done, but you got to roll up your fucking sleeves. You got to work a little bit harder to do it. And I think that's what Marcus Freeman was fucking doing. It's like, he was told, like, oh, you got to be restrictive, and, like, you can't go, and he just said, fuck it, I'm going to go into these recruits' home, and I'm going to fucking talk to them, and he was doing that. So it's like, dude, I just think it was kind of a way out of get paid a lot more money. I can go to LSU, and I have a better chance of winning LSU because I've been in Notre Dame for 12 years. I'm not winning it now, right? Like I told you guys last week about if you don't win in your third or fourth season, you're most likely not winning it. So he wasn't winning at Notre Dame, so it's like go. But you left Notre Dame. That's what's big. And that's like where college football, I think we're starting to see these things of like, okay, Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma. I'll talk about that tomorrow. So it's like, for another big name, it's like these type of moves have not happened like ever. So it's like, where is college football moving towards? So I don't know. And especially with the playoff most likely expand, I think they were supposed to vote on it today. I don't know if they did or they pushed it back. It's like it's gonna expand to 12, so it's like Notre Dame's you're pretty much guaranteed in the playoffs. So it's like, I don't know. I'm still baffled by it. I get it. Like, you leave as a coach, next challenge. That's what he said. He wants the next challenge. He wants to coach the best players in the country. It's like, what were you coaching at Notre Dame? I think he got some pretty good fucking players. Like Kyle Hamilton, Jesus Christ. All right. Now I will go through Brian Kelly's contract here. So his base contract is 10 years, $95 million base. That's without bonuses. So every year he gets a $500,000 bonus. So in 2022, next year, he'll be paid $10 million. And then the next 2 years it goes to 10.2. The next 2 years it goes to 10.4. The next 2 years 10.6. The next 2 years 10.8. And then the last year $11 million. That by far makes him the highest paid coach. I think Saban gets paid 9 something. So that makes Brian Kelly the highest paid coach. And Lincoln Riley's contract details has not fully come out yet. And then Brian Kelly gets a $500,000 bonus each season if LSU is bowl eligible. Which until last year they had a bowl eligibility streak of 20 years straight. So he gets him and his wife get a special incentives as the coach. He gets 2 courtesy vehicles or 2 vehicle allowances in the amount of $1,000 a month. So basically, like they drove Mercedes. Him and his wife drove Mercedes with Notre Dame. So it's like he'll get 2 Mercedes, or if you don't want a Mercedes, we'll pay for however much a month for $1,000 a month for a car if you want something other than Mercedes. They get an interest-free home loan up to $1.2 million of 20% of home price. So basically, LSU is going to buy him a house and then you just pay back the university. Basically, that's how it works. Like with Lincoln Riley's contract, it's like they bought his house in Norman, and then they bought him a $6 million house in LA. So it's kind of how it works. It's like, okay, we'll pay you a contract and we'll buy you a house. That's how it works. I don't know if they're buying his house back in South Bend and Diamond Lake. I don't know, because he just built a brand new house in South Bend. Like, he joked about it today. He joked about it on Dan Patrick when Dan was like, oh, so when Luke Fickell becomes the next head coach in Notre Dame, is he just going to move into your house? And Brian's like, he's got to pay for it. So I don't know if it's going to be for sale or if the university buys it. I don't fucking know. But he's getting a house and then whatever else he wants. And then he earns a max of $850,000 in performance bonuses each year. If he wins the SEC, he gets $250,000 raise to each remaining contract. So if he just wins the SEC once, $250,000 more. If he wins the national championship, he gets a $500,000 raise to each year. So he can make $500,000. If he just wins one, every year he gets paid $500,000 more. I get the money. It's a lot of money. It's big fucking money. I get it. I don't think this went down to, well, Notre Dame didn't pay him. I don't think that was the problem. Because he never even gave Notre Dame a chance to match it. So I don't think that really came a factor. Like, and if I'm Notre Dame, he's been here 12 years. To me, I wouldn't have paid him $10 million to stay at Notre Dame. Because you know what you're going to get. You're going to get 10 wins, 11 wins, make it to the playoff. Maybe win a playoff game like with Brian Kelly. So it's like, look, I get it. Like, to me, as a Notre Dame fan, paying him $10 million to stay at Notre Dame, no bueno. Like, no. Wouldn't have done it. So I get it from their perspective of like, it's not a money issue with Notre Dame. I wouldn't per se. I mean, they're rich as fuck and they don't usually give it out a lot. So, but I don't think it was like, oh, we'll pay him. I don't think that was even the question. I don't think money was the question at all. Because he was still well compensated at Notre Dame. Still. So, I mean, he moves on. And it's one of those things of like, okay, moving forward, what happens? Where does Notre Dame go? I said this, I made a TikTok as like, basically after it happened, no one man is bigger than Notre Dame. It's the truth. We need to pick up the pieces from this fuck, and we need to move forward. Why? How do we move forward? I don't know. We need to wait and see the assistant, who gets poached, who doesn't. I know Jack Swarbrick, the athletic director, they've already contacted Marcus Freeman to go, and they've already contacted Tommy Rees to go. And Jack Swarbrick, instead of going to the expansion playoff meeting today in Texas, which he was going to be there, he's a forefront on that. He's all about expanding it. He stayed in South Bend to talk with Marcus Freeman, Tommy Rees, and I'm sure the other staff. Coach Ballas, the strength and conditioning coach who Brian Kelly hired 5 years ago to reshape the program, said he's staying. He posted a video with the players saying, I'm going to fucking die with you guys. I'm going to die in this building. I don't want to be anywhere else. So that's a good sign to keep a guy like that. Like I said before, when he first left, I think Brian Pullian leaves with him, special teams coordinator. Jeff Quinn leaves with him, offensive line coach. Jeff Quinn has been with him since Grand Valley, so he's been with him everywhere, so that's going to be like a no-brainer. Mike Elston, who is, he was lead recruiting guy, kind of moved in this past year over Brian Pullian. He's basically Brian's right-hand man for everything. People thought he was going to get the defensive coordinating job when Clark Lee left last year. He's kind of the right-hand man. So I foresee those three for sure leaving. I know he contacted Tony Alford, who's the running back coach at Ohio State, who used to coach at Notre Dame, who I fucking hate because he left Notre Dame for Ohio State. He said no. So I don't know how, I don't know. And there's some people on the LSU staff that are pretty good. He's keeping one guy defensive backs coach. So I don't know fully. I think it's a waiting process on who he takes, who he doesn't take. Moving forward with the program, I think as long as Marcus Freeman can somewhat stay at Notre Dame in some type of capacity, I think there's no room to panic. Because when Jack Swarbrick contacted all the coaches, when Brian told him he was resigning Monday night, he said, continue as is, keep recruiting. So I don't know. No interim coach has been announced, and Jack Swarbrick said if an interim coach is announced, they will not be the head coach. So I do not foresee Marcus Freeman being the interim coach because he has a chance of getting this job. So moving forward, if Notre Dame as a State of the Union loses Marcus Freeman in any capacity, this is where this program goes to shit. Because Marcus Freeman is the guy that's really recruited very well. Recruits love him. All the players want him right now to be the head coach. So therefore, if we lose him in some type of capacity, if he doesn't become the head coach, if we aren't able to keep him as the defensive coordinator, this is when this shit goes like Oklahoma and it fucking turns over and we panic. I'm waiting for that fucking tweet that says Marcus Freeman's leaving. You offer me $3 million potentially to be the defense coordinator. I'm probably going to take it. But I don't know, because he's only been in Notre Dame 1 year, but he's a Midwest guy, so there's might help. So now I'll move into who I think Notre Dame needs to go after. I got 4 names that they should really consider. The first 2 are fucking big swings. If you're Jack Swarbrick at Notre Dame, you just lost the all-time winningest coach. You have a bad taste in your mouth. This guy just said, you know what, I wanted to coach the best players and I wanted to win a national championship. Basically saying I didn't think I could do that at Notre Dame. Just fucking go out and hire somebody that will forget about Brian Kelly in 5 minutes. I think there's 2 guys that can do that. The third that is kind of in the back of my mind, it will never happen. I think they talked about it, Dan Patrick talked about it might have happened years ago, but I don't think it's going to happen. That being John Harbaugh, I don't think it's going to happen. The 2 guys, number 1 on my list, who I said it earlier in this video, I've forever wanted him to coach Notre Dame. Lou Holtz brought him as a wide receiver coach in the 90s. Is Urban Meyer. And people are going to be like, you're fucking stupid. Urban Meyer would never come. I get it. Urban Meyer won't come. Probably not. I don't think Notre Dame wants him now. He could have had the job in 06. He got no's instead of yeses with some recruiting stuff. Which I don't blame him. I would have went to Florida too. Way easier to recruit. You won 2 national titles. It worked out. But if you look at it right now, Urban, he's lost 9 games this entire year. He only lost 9 in Ohio State. Notre Dame at the time now, the 2 times that he has a chance to take the program over are in way better shape. This time he has a chance to take over the program in way better shape than the last 2 times that he would have been offered the contract in 06 and potentially 2010. I think Urban only has 3 or 4 years. You bring Urban in, keep Marcus Freeman, and you let Marcus Freeman continue to groom and recruit, and you just look at Urban and go, look, you're a guy to win us a national title. If you fucking do, you'll be remembered here forever. Is it going to happen? No, it's not. I mean, it won't. Because Urban's had problems, and, that's, I think, is maybe the key factor here. I think he's had some problems, and he's the Jags coach. He has, no way of getting out of his contract. It's just a wish I've always had, and I've always thought if someone was going to win a national title at Notre Dame, it was going to be Urban Meyer, because he wins everywhere he goes. But it's not going to happen. But if you're Jack Swarbrick, just try. That's all I want to know. I just want him to try potentially. Be like, man, did we call him? And I know Urban came out and said no. I don't know if that's Urban being like, man. Urban said, maybe that was like a ploy and now they're going, I don't fucking know. It's just a dream I've had. It will never happen. But I just think that would be the number 1 guy I call. Who gives a fuck about the off? Who gives a fuck about him in the bar? Who gives a fuck? If you want to win, fucking make the call. Quit tiptoeing around shit. If you want to win, you gotta do some dicey shit. And so much for a fucking bar video. I'll be on Diamond Lake partying with him. I'll be his right-hand man. I'll navigate him through life. And we'll win a fucking title. And you could keep Marcus Freeman in that scenario. Because the program's in good hands. You just need somebody to kind of steer. The second guy on my list is another big, you go fucking big. This guy is like the most fucking God-led, thought-provoking guy ever. That's Dabo Sweeney. And you're going to look at it and say, Caleb, that is retarded. He would never, yeah, but this is what you should try. You are fucking Notre Dame. And I get it. Notre Dame's not the same as what it was in the 80s or the 70s, 60s, the 20s, the 30s. But it still has marquee. When Dabo came with Clemson last year and they played at Notre Dame, it was the first time they ever been at Notre Dame, they took the entire day Friday and they just walked around campus. And when he did his interview with College Game Day, that's all he talked about was basically Notre Dame and how fucking cool it was. So I, per se, just try it. He had a little bit of a down year at Clemson. Recruiting-wise, they haven't been as good as they have been, top 3. You don't know where you're moving forward, kind of with quarterback. You've won 2 national titles there, maybe a new challenge. You've been there 9 years. Just say fuck it. Just say fuck it and throw it all out the window and just try. This is not that it's going to happen. I'll tell you who I realistically think it's a job, but just try it. Why not? Why not? Dabo would be great for the university. He's a stand-up guy. Everything at the university it fucking wants in a coach is Dabo. Try it. Fucking make the phone call. Fuck it. Who cares? Just fucking try. Christ. And then I would not, and then you could fucking show your pocketbooks. Pay Dabo $10, $11 million a year. I'd be fucking fine with that. It's Dabo fucking Sweeney. But the next 2 guys, this is who I realistically think gets the job after the home run dreaming wanting lies. I think Luke Fickell is, I think, the number one choice, I think, for Notre Dame's perspective, or Marcus Freeman. And I think if you get Fickell, you have a chance of keeping Freeman just because they're best friends. They coached with each other at Cincinnati. During quarantine last year, they lived together and they each have like 9 kids. So I think you'd have a chance to keep Marcus Freeman. You can keep Tommy Rees, kind of keep it similar, just bring in Fickell, and I think you have a chance to, I legitimately think, I think you have a chance to win that title. I mean, look at what the fuck he's done at Cincinnati. Like, they almost beat Georgia last year in a bowl game. It's like, I legitimately think if you bring in Fickell, you keep Freeman, you have a legitimate shot to win a national title. Those two together, I think, are fucking great. But I don't know when Notre Dame makes that decision. Do they go after Fickell now? Or do they wait for the playoff to be over? Because Cincinnati's most likely in it. And then, like I said, Marcus Freeman alone as just the head coach. I think those are the two legitimate things I think Notre Dame's thinking about, unless they're going big, which they could be. My only skeptic with Marcus Freeman is he's 35. I don't know if he's ready yet. That's why I say a coach that's a little bit older, like Urban, would be perfect because he could groom him for 3 or 4 years, and then he could step right in. But the problem is my other fear is I don't want to lose Marcus Freeman because I've seen what he's done in recruiting and how players like him and how recruits like him. So do we lose him and then he goes somewhere else, becomes a head coach, and he fucking is like the greatest coach of all time? That is kind of where the problems lie. But I think Fickell and Freeman are the top 2 choices I think Notre Dame's looking at right now. So I don't know. The other name that's been thrown out there is Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell's the most overrated coach of all time. I don't fucking want him. If he comes, I'll be pissed. If he fucking comes, I'll cry. Because Matt Campbell is terrible. When he came out a couple weeks ago and said, my job is to win Big 12 championship for games, over. It was over with him. This guy's retarded. Like I said, Urban, Dabo, just try. Just make the fucking phone call, Jack. Jack Swarbrick's the highest paid AD. Gets paid over $1 million fucking a year. Make the fucking phone call, dude. Make the fucking phone call. That's all I ask. I don't know. I don't know where we move forward. Hopefully, when I make a video, I'm happy. But right now, I'm a broken man still. I'm still processing it. Still sucks. But look, no one man is bigger than the University of Notre Dame. No one man is. We will get fucking through this. We will play like champions today and every day moving forward. We have the Golden Dome and touchdown Jesus. We'll figure this shit out. We are the Notre Dame. We're the University of Notre Dame. We'll figure this shit out. We will. We will figure this shit out. Hopefully, something good happens, and hopefully Jesus is looking down on us and brings us somebody great and can do it. We'll figure it out. Hopefully it's done right. Jack Swarbrick did a really good job 12 years ago. Hopefully he does an even better job this time. Tough task, but I don't know. So that's going to be the video. Never thought I'd make this other than a retirement video for Brian Kelly, who now I hate his guts. And that gap-tooth fuck. I hope he eats too much gumbo, becomes 600,000 pounds and can't fucking coach anymore. And I hope the NCAA takes away everything LSU ever has because of Coach O. So, I mean, it'd be great. Won't happen. But thanks for watching. That's the video. I'll have a college football video tomorrow. Talk about the Michigan game. Show videos I have from that game. Talk about what I think SEC Championship's going to happen at USC job. A lot of fucking shit has happened. It's only going to get fucking nuts. So, that's what I'll talk about tomorrow. Thanks for watching.